Well, hello everyone, and welcome. I mean, what a joyous, what a wonderful occasion this is. It really is a room full of love and happiness and contentment and everything. Really, it's a great, I was just thinking from a great verification for us all persons of nature, of the absolute wonder of nature. I don't think you can really fully appreciate it until you give birth. And it's just unbelievable, isn't it? Yeah. And I think it's the first time you really appreciate your mother. Because you feel, I've done a lifetime of work, you know. And I certainly felt that. And that nobody was saying, God, isn't this the most wonderful thing? And nobody was asking about how was it during the birth or anything. I said, this is monumental, you know. And I was such joy when my mother came to visit me. It really was just a great moment of understanding and thanksgiving. Thanks to our mother and the parents and the people who brought us to be this great place where you can have your own baby. And then I think the joy of actually be breastfeeding your baby and knowing that you're giving it the very best start in life, that it is getting all its needs. There's nothing else it could possibly need than to have all the nutrients, all the food that you are giving to it, and that it has, you're passing on your immunities, it's developing at the very right pace, and that this will continue on to benefit from life, its development, its growth, everything. And I think that's the kind of, you know, all the supports that you get for giving birth now, after long centuries of them not being there, you know, that I think that now is the time when people have to know the supports have to be there in the same way for breastfeeding. The same kind of preparation and training and counselling, so that when it comes to the point of your baby being given to you and putting to them the breast, you know exactly how things, and that the breasts have been prepared and they're not going to be tender, you know, that they're, I think there's so many proprietary things now. In my day, when I was feeding mine, we used methylated spirits to toughen. No, the rich was lovely and I loved the smell of it. But you use for weeks beforehand the methylated spirits to, is this too loud for you? No, to toughen. But then later on they developed the lanolin and the lanolin gels and all of that. But it's so important that people have the breasts prepared so there's no soreness or chapping. And again, between last year and this year, I mean, I'm so proud and happy to welcome here all the supports there are now for breastfeeding. The people who are welcoming here today are the Quidju, which are now, they were here last year and helped organise this, and they're now even more people in training and more being helped, so that this whole help for breastfeeding is going to be spreading, and that's so wonderful. That's real volunteering to do that. Then there's a Leleche League. They were the first people, the only people that were about in 1974 when I was breastfeeding, that they were the only people in the country that knew anything about it, because the medical profession, they had forgotten about it. I think there was one sister in Galway who had any experience. I think her name was Slattery. So in fact, there was no really help available at the time. So it's terrific now to think that, and that Leleche League is still going strong, and I hope is spreading. And then there's so many others, these new people. We've met for the improvement for maternity services, and the midwives. I should have them here someplace, because this is wonderful that the midwives and nursing, that they have branched into having midwifery as part of their training. That's only in the last while, and I think it's the biggest step forward, because, as I say, the support for mothers who are going to breastfeed has to come from all parts, from the health services And it has to be understood that it's nature taking its course from once you become pregnant right through the process and then to the breastfeeding and the weaning. You need the support of the health services. And it is of vital importance, and it's great to have the contact with volunteers, but it has to be an integral part of the health services. And I think the initiative for breastfeeding friendly hospitals, I don't know has that got to every hospital yet, but I know later. I think somebody from the Midwife Nurses Association is going to speak. But really, if it isn't, we're going to have to campaign to make sure that it's in every hospital. And this new, that I only heard during the year, of these lactation experts, the Association of Lactation Consultants. Now, there's a suggestion that they should be, midwives if they're busy and everything else, and there's a mother who needs particular attention either before or after, that she should have the services of a lactation consultant available to her, so that all of the difficulties she might anticipate, or if she does experience difficulties, that there is somebody there to help her. So I think that's a great leap forward, And I think the bigger thing, which I want to particularly say to you today, I must say first I have everybody mentioned that the fishbowl scarf from Clare, the Mulholland breastfeeding, the improvement of maternity services, some of those now will be speaking to you, and the University of Limerick, and the School of Nursing and Midwifery in Galway. But the bigger thing is that last year a wonderful thing happened in the world, that for the first time ever now there's one agenda for the whole world. The Sustainable Development Goals that were signed onto last summer by 200 countries at the United Nations, and they are for all the leaders of the world. This is the plan. If the planet is to survive, this has to be put into operation, and it joins then with the climate change agreements that were signed up to in Paris in November, which is again, the two together are essential if the planet is to survive. And now, I don't know if you've seen this, the stuff on the internet or places of their connection in of showing that the key to the sustainable development of the world, which means the key to the planet and its people surviving, and for there being peace and cooperation, and the kind of lives and the kind of life each citizen on the planet should have, it is really dependent to a lot on this key of breastfeeding. This is best nutrition, prospect of healthy populations, security of food in many places where there's shortage of water. It's security of food. A breastfeeding baby doesn't need water. And there's like 800,000 people in the world, people in the world who are suffering starvation and poverty, and there's so many, it's 60 million I think, of refugees, and they're in conflict places and they're in concentration or those kind of places, and to have the breastfeeding there, the baby is secure and the mother is secure. So if you can get the food to the mother, then there's food security for the baby. So I think today that you are all pioneers. I really think you are pioneers, and that it is no accident from some great person in your life or wherever that it suggested to you, helped you to become a breastfeeding mother, and that now you, like the people in Quidju and Lelesh and all the others, you will reach out so that Ireland is so small that we can have for every mother, unless there's some health reason otherwise, will be 100%. So you can say 95% breastfeeding, and I think you can do it. I'm sure of it, because look, compared with last year, all these new people that have come on board, and the international community has come on board, and it's going to happen. The top down have guaranteed, it's legally binding, their ones on climate change. So this is really, but Everything has to happen from the roots up, from civil society, and it's already happening in schools. So your children, these little children, will have less difficulty in breastfeeding their babies, and they will have the help of their partners and everybody else in it. That is changing, but you are the people in Ireland and your other companions around. We could only have so many here that are going to bring this about. So I congratulate you on having your wonderful, glorious, and they're so beautiful just to look at. I mean, it's so exquisite that you're going. I congratulate you on this, and I wish you the greatest joy and happiness in it.